Life is a nightmare, man, that's the way it seems. Life is a nightmare.
Welcome to Today in Horrible History, your daily moment of historical misfortune. For February 1st, 2022, we head back to February 1st, 1908. On that date, both the King of Portugal and his son, the Prince, were shot to death in an event commonly known as the Lisbon Regicide. Lisbon Regicide is by far the best band name of any of these video titles thus far. Feel free to use it. King Carlos I, known as King Carlos the Obese for evident reasons, took the Portuguese throne in 1889. The turn of the 19th to 20th centuries in Europe was a time when many Europeans questioned why they still had monarchs any longer and wanted to live in republics, that is to say governments free from monarchs. 1908 saw many political factions within Portugal, one of which that's difficult to fully understand now or describe in the present, being the Carbonaria, an offshoot of Italian anti-monarchist secret societies. These groups held military trainings for members in preparation for some revolutionary activities, which do not seem to have been terribly well coordinated. It took 80 years, in fact, for them to seize their big opportunity. The short version is that while some Portuguese, the monarchists, liked their king just fine, others wanted to get rid of that monarchy, and two men from the latter group, and I'm going to butcher the Portuguese pronunciations of these names, forgive me in advance, Manuel Reis Bulsa and Alfredo Luis da Costa, opened fire on the royal carriage of King Carlos I as it traveled from the train station to the royal palace. The shootout took place at the Praça do Comércio, which is a major plaza in Lisbon. The carriage had minimal guard. The assassins managed to kill the king immediately with their first rifle shot, which hit him in the neck. They had no way of knowing how successful they'd been and continued to fire at the king's body as they attacked the carriage. The pair also shot at Queen Amélie d'Orléans, who you may have guessed from her name was French, and their son, the 20-year-old Prince Luis Felipe. The prince drew a revolver and attempted firing back at one of the assassins, who by this point was in the carriage with them, but the rifleman managed to put a bullet into his head as he stood. The queen, who ended up not being terribly well injured, was carrying a bouquet of flowers and began beating the assassin who made his way into the carriage with them, shouting the word infamish, which apparently means infamous or shame, shame. Police on the scene and the carriage drivers managed to fight back, shoot the pair of assassins repeatedly, and depending on what version of the story you get, either killed them at the scene or finished them off later at a police station. Police also managed to shoot a bystander in the square named Sabino Costa, who was a nearby jeweler and was mistaken for another assassin. In fact, Costa was a monarchist and very much liked the king. So that's the thanks you get. Prisoners. Prisoners reported police shot Costa in the head twice back at the police station to finish him off. There's a lesson there of some sort for us all. Bizarrely, the bodies of the royals were transported to the palace in upright seated positions as if they were still alive. I wish we had a photo of that, folks, but you can't get everything. The problem with trying to shoot your way out of monarchy, of course, is that those people keep breeding deliberately in order to have spares. And that's what happened. The other son, the other prince, Manuel, who was not on this trip, ascended to the throne, becoming King Manuel II. This was short-lived, however, as a better organized military coup took down the monarchy permanently in 1911. Unfortunately, this was not a democratic revolution, and Portugal did not enjoy a democratic government until a popular revolt in the 1970s, following decades of rule by the Salazar dictatorship, which is a story for another day. Be sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel for more Today in Horrible History. Remember that after a brief visit to this channel, the rest of your day can only seem better in comparison.
Life is a nightmare, and that's the way it seems. Life is a nightmare.